Right guys, out with the rx10 Mark IV. Just done some sort of birds on feeders. They've got a feeding station. Well, they've actually got two. One must seem more popular than the other. And got a few shots there. Very, very tame pheasants. I've seen a red kite go into the middle tree there. Plane gone through the clouds. So there's a possible nest in that tall tree, but there's also definitely one here somewhere. Definitely, because one kite was cruising around while I was stood over there the other day, and he had twigs in his mouth, as in like substantial twigs, and then literally dropped down for literally a few seconds and came back up again. So he's, see those three tall trees in the distance, the green ones? Possibly one of those. I don't know how much open tree they use. I don't really know, but it's around that area. So I'm going to take a walk around the lake. I'm going to head back and see if I can see any possible nest building activity, because that'd be really quite cool. Obviously I don't want to disturb anything, but it'd be interesting to see if I can spot anything. Another nice day. It's a bit breezy, but still nice. A few geese down there. Interesting. Anyway, problem is the pheasants. Some of the pheasants are quite tame. Some of the pheasants, they just literally like that, just go bonkers when you go anywhere near them, and that's basically an alarm call for every other animal nearby. So. It's quite a nice warm day. Yeah, all right, Mr. Pheasant, we know you're there. So you may have seen my previous video with the A7R4 with the 100 to 400 and the 2x converter as well. Really pleased how that turned out. Really pleased. So I'm going to try and alternate between cameras, because I know you guys have got a lot of people obviously like to see the rx10 Mark IV in use. Obviously some people would like to see the A7R4 in use as well. Just seen a bird shadow go up on that tree right there. Oh, look at that. He's right there. Buzzard. Oh, don't go away, come back round. Do you know what? I saw a shadow on the grass. But he came over the top of it and I couldn't see, or he was up in the tree. Yeah. Is that him over there? Yep. So he's now right in the distance, just flying around over the trees, just sort of checking his boundaries out, I suppose. He's cruising around. So you're looking for a bit of lunch? That's annoying. He was up through these branches here where you probably could see, I'm hoping. A little bit annoying, but what can you do? He's still out there, so I can see he's still checking out those trees there. A couple of other birds flying this way, probably crows I suppose, or something. Jackdaws. Something low and noisy. Helicopter. That's a blackbird. I don't know if you guys can hear that deep rumble. Sounds like Coast Guard or police. Either that or it's a tractor. Oh, you fucking look at that heron. Well, that was worth turning around just by the sound. There's a heron just there. I think that's a tractor, but I can't tell. Let's get on the grass, Stu. Blackbird in this tree. Blackbird and a robin. Right. Where is Mr. Heron? He's literally just landed down there. There he is, I can see him. He spotted me already. He's gone. Back round. He's in the reeds. Anyway, we're going to take this route then. Behind that tree, it'd be handy. I literally walked straight past him. He's literally looking at me big time. He's right there. That's amazing how he's going to go. He's definitely thinking about it. There you go. So that was lucky. That shows you how literally how even though a heron's grey and white, it can literally blend in. It's only because I saw the light change on the side of my eye, but I spotted him. He's literally over there now. So that's really cool. Glad I saw that. I'm actually going to walk around. I'm halfway around this way now, so I'm going to do a loop the other way. He's still there. Still interested to see what he does. In fact, I might just sit here on the bench in the shade. Bastard. He's going over to see his mate. Sitting nice and quiet, he might come back over. Geese aren't bothered. Cool tree. So yeah, anyway, trying out the A7R4, like I said, been trying to test that, trying to get my head around everything, and after ages, obviously after two reinitializations of the camera, which basically means it resets it, recalibrates that sensor properly. When you do it, you actually feel it wobbling around. Obviously sets everything, the parameters or anything back to 0000 or something, or whatever it needs to do. Just makes me wonder if some of the A7R4s when they came out of the factory weren't zeroed, or you know, it might have been dropped, or you know, imagine, you know, all of your cameras and everything are in a lorry with, you know, a cargo ship or something like that, and there's a big crash or bash, and all those cameras, even though in boxes, the sensors when they're off can wobble around. So it makes you wonder if they all had a bit of a knock. You know, maybe it, you know, did some damage, not some damage, but you know, knocked everything out a little bit or something. Because there's not a huge amount of people having this issue, but it's quite, you know, there's enough. That obviously it's been talked about, so you know it works well if we can get this sorted out. You know, and it seems to be mine's spot on now, even with the portraiture. So I was shooting some portraiture yesterday, and I noticed straight away the Samyang 35mm f1.4 was on the eye, banging every single time, even against bright backlighting and everything like that. I was like, okay, that's really cool. And the 135G Master was even better than it has been. I was actually definitely, you could just feel everything felt snappier. And that's kind of what my friend Nick said, who had the same issue, who got rid of his camera and then bought another one later on. Basically said, you know, rx10iv Mark IV though, even though this is bashed around, dropped and everything, has been absolutely brilliant. Been covered in water, sand, mud, the lot. So anyway, I'm going to sit here quietly and see if this heron does anything, and I'll be back in a bit. Right, so with this heron, it was pretty cool to actually get that close, because they are really quite sort of frightened birds, but they don't like humans that much, I don't think. So they generally just bugger off, and that's why he was a little bit nervous. He obviously saw me, you know, he pretended to be basically a reed, neck up, and basically waited for me to pass. And then obviously I couldn't see him really. He just sort of blended in. You're sort of scanning around, trying to work out where he is, and basically I only saw him because after I'd walked past. I'd probably walked about 10 feet, 15, 20 feet past him, and yeah, lucky just spotted. But having that RX10, having that range just on tap, and you know, having in a handheld format, is just makes it invaluable. It's really, really handy to have. The fact you can just wander around with it, take it with you, and not even worry. You know, obviously got the A7R4 and bigger lenses and stuff like that. They're just, yeah, they're great if you're going out for, you know, a purpose. But if you're literally just going to go for a walk in the woods, just you know, enjoy life, you can just take the RX10 with you, and you know you've got a huge range and a lot of usability. So this is one reason why 3.5 years down the line I still love it, and you know, use it daily. So yeah, really, really cool bit of kit. And to be able to capture, you know, a heron like this doing his thing, and obviously looking around for a bit of breakfast or lunch or whatever, it's really interesting to watch him. This is only a few snippets of what he was actually up to, but I sat there for another 15 minutes or so just watching him, and it was really interesting. Not just in the water, but actually looking into the banks and stuff. I presume things like frogs or you know, small mice and stuff like that, they possibly, I don't really know. Quite a beautiful day. It's a bit windy, but yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to walk. There's another reservoir, or the reservoirs up here, high point, and then it drops down and then it goes into those lakes. Those trees here, so I'm basically going to have a wander through roughly where I think might be right, and see if I can kind of pinpoint a position to possibly get a good view. But I don't think I'll be able to, but it's nice to know that they're nesting, because red kites I think were very rare in this country for quite a long time, and I've seen them locally quite a bit now, so it's nice to see. Not just a buzzard as well, so buzzards obviously pretty cool birds also, but yeah, you want a shot of them stood on, you know, perched on one of these big branches. It'd be really nice. I've actually walked into a wood before. Had one, it's actually during a photo shoot actually. Similar thing, kind of an edge to a wood, a bit like this. Walked in through a path, and this bird, which I think was a goshawk, flew over my head like that and landed in the branch right in front of us. Camera it on my back, wrong lens on, no chance of getting the photo. We kind of looked at it and then it left, which is a real shame, but amazing sight to actually appreciate naturally. This is where I wonder if there's any woodpeckers or kingfishers at all. Looking forward to come up here for summer. Dragonflies. Things like that. Oh, fish just literally came out of the water just there. In fact, there's a perch there, which might be quite a good spot for a kingfisher. You never know. It's the kind of thing they'd sit on. Just to sit there and watch and then dive in as if you see a fish. Not too far away and it's a clear view. So, possible. Also, if I remember rightly, they nest it in banks, and there's plenty of bank around here that's a possible nesting area for them. So, yeah, lots of deer activity. Like I said before, it's just sometimes nice just to sit, appreciate this. Absolutely beautiful. No one else around, just me. Beautiful wildlife. Chirping away. There's something just made noise down there a second ago. And although obviously something like the A7R4 gives me obviously huge resolution, you know, it's a different world. You know, unless I had £12,000 to buy the 600mm f4 lens, this at 600mm f4 allows me much faster shutter speeds. There's a squirrel running up the tree, allowing it to be much more usable than something like an f6.3 600mm. So, you know, you can keep your ISO lower, and with the smaller sensor, believe it or not, it gives you a little bit of a helping hand in some respects, because it gives you the little bit extra depth that you're more likely to actually hit your target, compared to the full frame, where obviously the bigger the sensor, the shallower your depth of field naturally becomes. We actually compared a few years ago, not 3 years ago now, the 1DX Mark II with a 600mm f4, my friend Gav. Hi Gav, you alright? And we compared it. And this camera, the rx10 Mark IV, was actually performing pretty much as well as that. In fact, it's probably faster in some respects. Image quality and good light, not like to see huge difference. Yes, obviously lower light, higher ISO, that's where the 1DX came into its own. But even Gav was blown away, and he actually bought the rx10 Mark IV because he was that impressed by it. So the main benefit of this is you have that amazing lens in a small package, and you can walk around like this with no real drama. When you're carrying around a huge 600 f4 lens, you yeah, it's quite heavy, quite big, so it's not ideal for me doing this. You know what I'm doing? Yeah, okay. If you're going to set up up in that clearing up there, for example, tripod, hide, set up everything, and you're going to do something for, you know, wildlife or whatever, or if you're on a football pitch or and you're doing, you know, it's just a different sort of matter. But for doing stuff like this, where you're walking around hoping you're going to see something, you know, this is amazing. Mr. Barbie. So this shot of many thousands of robin pictures I've actually taken is one of my favourites. It's out in the wild, beautiful old bit of branch there, and just really worked nicely. I was just really blown away by how the light was and everything like that. Really lovely. Right guys, I can actually hear, even again, apart from the ducks and whatever that is, somewhere not too far from here, bird of prey noise, so either the kite or the buzzard. Not 100% sure. But I'm going to carry on looking around, see if I can spot something that's obvious. They'll obviously pick a tree that looks good, ideal for a nest, so I'm wondering, you know, if something like this or that one. I'm bashing around over there. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. I need to look into nests a bit of birds of prey like buzzards and kites. I can see you. Can you see me? I see you. He's like, I'm not here. Nope, nope. I'm a tree. Definitely a tree. Nothing to see here. So, quite a few different birds out and about, and a nuthatch here. These are really cool birds. They're really beautiful, and they have like almost like a mask on as well, which is kind of awesome. And couldn't resist doing a little bit of HFR. So this is at 500 frames per second. I shot at f5.6 to give me enough depth. So obviously once you fix focus on your subject, he stays in focus for quite a period of time, which is nice. But the free fall is wicked. I mean, this happens within splits of a second because they're so quick, and it's almost like they free fall just to work out which way they want to go. So it's almost a bit like a split step when you're playing tennis. You see the tennis players do a little bit of a jump and a hop before they decide to make their move. Pheasants, absolutely beautiful at the moment. Colours are incredible. The ones that here are really tame. They just, you know, whatever, not bothered at all. And this is really annoying. So, little baby bunny there stuck his head around a tree stump here, and I only got one shot as I missed focus, as you could see, before I could quickly change to flexible spot. He was gone, so missed that. Birds on feeders and on the branches there all worked quite nicely. Unfortunately, by the time I got there, after my walk around the woods and everything and the lake, the light had sort of gone very cloudy and everything like that, so shooting at quite a high ISO, sort of 800 ISO. And with these birds, because they're so quick, you need quite a fast shutter speed, especially like this, sort of 2.5 of a second upwards. So even though I was shooting at f4, I was still up to ISO 1000, 800, 1000 sort of area a lot of the time. And yeah, so wagtail there, just having a little walk along the wall, which is kind of bizarre, but they're kind of cool birds as well. This is that tree that I was talking about earlier, which is possibly a nest in there. I don't know. I didn't see any other activity. Maybe it just landed in there for a second, then moved on. But I just thought it was quite a cool tree. It's almost like something you might see in Africa. That heron again, just cruising along. A bit of reflection off the water there just by his beak, which is a little bit annoying. But here's a closer up or cropping of him pretending to be a reed. Absolutely stationary. It just didn't move. And like I said before, amazing how he just sort of blended in. And then him launching off there. I suddenly realise how big they are. They're quite a large bird, really. But yeah, no, really cool. Cool thing to see. I mean, you see them quite regularly, but quite often to get anywhere near them is quite remote. You know, it's quite difficult. The robin shot there again. Really love this shot, just because he's out in the wild. You know, he's not on a bird feeder. He's not in your garden. He's in the woods. This shot I thought was quite cool. So I shot f16, and I think I was about 1/4000th of a second ISO 100. Just to get kind of a bit of a silhouette of the tree. This shot here, not amazing, because it's actually quite hazy with the moon and the plane cruising under. I was just sat there having a drink and everything, and yeah, so night hatch again. So well, I was actually sat on a bench. They're actually bird feeder and everything around, so they're coming around you all the time. And actually, they're not bothered by you at all. It's really, really nice, and I'm going to go back there and do some more shots. So to get shots like this with a beautiful soft background, you know, I'm not a huge distance, maybe 10-15 feet away, so it worked really, really nicely. The light was a bit iffy, so you know, as we get better, longer days and the sun is a bit more higher up in the sky, I think it's going to be better for shots. Love this shot here, and they spend a lot of time up in the trees there, and some of these trees here got lots of little moss and stuff growing on as well, which is kind of interesting because they these smaller birds, they're quite often eating the little bugs and things in them, which is kind of cool. That's just a crop in there, so you can see a little bit closer. But yeah, what a lovely walk. Really pleased to saw the heron, a few other animals as well. Just gutted I didn't get the shot of that little baby bunny properly. But you know, we live and learn, and you know, you can't always get everything you want. So another shot there with the moon, the clouds starting to come over. So yeah, I mean, it's all relative. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a really lovely day. Spring's definitely sprung, got flowers everywhere now, they're all starting to come out. Bugs are starting to do their thing. As you can see, there's one inside the middle of a flower there. And yeah, but what a beautiful day. Really, really pretty. Just a little bit breezy, but that's not the end of the world. But at least it's been dry, it's warming up, and you know, we're starting to see the wildlife really starting to do their thing. So anyway guys, don't forget to click the subscribe button, little notification bell as well, and hopefully there'll be another video coming soon. And like I say, any comments as usual below, feel free. Any questions below, feel free, and I'll try and answer them. And if you want me to do any videos about anything, we can think of anything, please feel free to suggest something, and I shall see you soon.